Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. It's Christmas, and I started actually thinking about jolly old Saint Nick, as we all do, right? But how did Santa actually become Santa? Well, joining us today to talk about it is Reverend Phillip K., the author of Nicholas of Myra. Reverend, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Mitch. I
Mer-
appreciate it.
Merry Christmas to you. Let me ask you, what inspired you to actually start to explore the history of good old jolly old Saint Nick?
Well, actually, it was based on a dream. I had this crazy dream. I was sitting on a beach next to this old dude,
Okay.
and he asked me what I did, and I was into computer programming at the time. And I said, "But what I really want to do is write books and tell stories." And so he asked, "Would you tell my story?" Now,
Okay.
usually as an author, I say no to this question
Okay.
because I've got my own stories to write. But for some reason, in this dream, I was like, "Sure, Nick. What do you want? What's your story?" And he shook my hand, and as soon as he did, I saw the whole story. It was like watching a movie on fast forward. Got up the next morning, wrote a 10-page outline, and within a week, I had 10,000 words down.
Wow. All right.
It
Well,
was yeah.
your story kind of different. It's a little different from the modern images that we have Santa Claus. How so?
Well, first of all, he's skinny. I
Okay.
think that's probably something you might want to think about first. But Nicholas, he lived during a time of basically when Christianity was illegal in the Roman Empire. He
Okay.
saw it go from illegal to legal. And through all the trials and tribulations that he had, his faith was basically the main thing that really kept him going. And so while we have Santa Claus, who is this magical elf who's constantly generous during Christmas, Nicholas was a real man who was constantly generous when the world was not.
Well, now this novel kind of goes through themes of not only faith but resilience during that persecution, as you speak. How do those aspects of Saint Nick's life actually resonate with readers today?
Well, one aspect I hope that any person out there reading Nicholas and Myra was just how kind of good we have it nowadays when it comes to religious freedom.
Uh huh.
I mean, it's you can actually be whatever faith or religion you want, and it's okay. There's no one out there trying to really knock you down or anything.
Right.
I know some folks around this time, like, I'd have some friends say, "Hey, I can't say Merry Christmas at work." And I'm like, well, that's your boss talking. But as a customer, you can say Merry Christmas all day long.
Yeah.
So whenever you go out and about, you can say, if you say Merry Christmas first, then that'll give them permission to say it back. And
I
I
love
would
that
hope
idea.
that some people, yeah, I think it's something that we're kind of forgetting there in it.
I
And
I can
I always
appreciate
say,
it.
just, yeah, say Merry Christmas first.
Yeah.
I do it all the time whenever I'm out and about, especially around this time of the season.
I want to
Say
talk.
Merry Christmas first.
I want to talk about this because there was some loss in your life, referring to your wife Kristen, that actually played a big role in this, and I wanted to make sure we got to this. Can you maybe share how her memory inspired the story?
Yeah, my wife was a paraplegic. She got into a wheelchair when she was about 13 after a skiing accident, and she was very devout in her faith. And sometimes she had problems. She had struggles, I think, as all people do with their faith.
Right.
And I always told her, I was like, look, all you have to say is, I believe God is possible. And that pretty much shuts down the argument right there, because we're still learning things on how we got here, and how we all got into this world. But the thing with her was that being in a wheelchair, despite being in a wheelchair,
Uh huh.
this woman was tough as nails. All right. We got married. We were married for 22 years. She became a court reporter for the local government, making six figures a year. She gave birth to two healthy babies when the
Wow.
doctors told her she couldn't. Yeah. I mean, to me, she was a constant source of inspiration. And I had a little trouble writing Nicholas because, I don't write, religious historical fiction. I usually write science fiction. So this was kind of out of my league, but she really wanted me to finish the book. And it wasn't until about after she passed, I came across it again and just got to work on it and put it out there.
I love
Because
that.
I know that this is something she would be proud of. This is something that she would want to read.
You made mention that you have other writings, but screenwriting comic books, I understand, kind of
Mhm.
did have any influence over the story?
Well, it really helps. Like screenwriting, it's all about what you see and what you hear. And with novels, you can dive more into the character, into the points of view, into what they're feeling and what's going on. So it really helped me with understanding the visuals and trying to create that historic authenticity. I had to do a ton of research into the Roman Empire
Sure.
because there were things I saw in this dream that didn't make sense. Like there were holes in the ceiling, like purposefully put holes. And I found out later that's a part of Roman architecture. They would actually have a hole in the ceiling with a small pool below that it would gather water so they could bathe in the morning. Um, Little things like that always came through. But it was things, it just helped me to make the story more authentic, understand the feeling of what was going on at the time for Nicholas. And because the goal is to really put the reader in the world as best you can without going overboard with the details.
Sure. And I can appreciate that. You know, we gather all of our experiences, no matter what we do, in all work that we do. So I actually appreciate that, and I love that your inspiration was your wife, and you know that she's proud of you as well. If you want to find out more information, of course, on Nicholas of Myra, you can head to our website. We'll have links there at dailyflashshow.com. Reverend, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you for joining us today.